also like my skin's going through it this week, so we're gonna ignore all of the pimpliness and we're just gonna appreciate the fact that for the second time in a row on a video, I'm actually wearing makeup, so. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Allie. If you're new here, hello. If you're returning, welcome back. I appreciate you. Thank you for not being sick of me yet. So we're back with another book recommendation video. Today is Friends to Lovers, but we're gonna mix it with just like general Friends to Lovers and childhood Friends to Lovers. This was actually requested by some of you, so I figured I would get right on it for you guys. So I'm excited to do some things that you guys are specifically requesting. If there's any other book recommendation videos you guys want to see, let me know. I would love to make more things that you guys like specifically want and ask for. But yeah, let's get right into it. So first up for me is like a core middle school memory book. Like this is the copy I've had since I was in middle school and it's very well loved and well read. This book is kind of starting to get popular on Book Talk and stuff because it's going to be turned into, I believe, a series on Amazon Prime. I think they're doing a series and not a movie. But that is The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. Again, this book is very well loved and well read. The spine is very much circle and the pages are yellow. So this was like my entire personality when I was a kid. I think I even read this series before I read To All the Boys. And I honestly think that like I like this series better than To All the Boys. And I don't even necessarily think that it's like I like it better nostalgia-wise. Like this story holds up. I could read this now at 22 and still love it when I did when I was 13. It's a 3-book trilogy. This is just an old copy that has all 3 books into one. That's why it's so big. This story follows Belly, Conrad, Jeremiah, and her brother Stephen. Conrad and Jeremiah's mom and Belly and Stephen's mom, they've been best friends their entire life. So the 4 of them as kids have always grown up together, but only in the summer. They both live super far apart, but every summer, Belly and Stephen's family goes and stays at Conrad and Jeremiah's little beach house. So they spend the entire summer together every summer since they were kids. Friends to Lovers, also in like a love triangle kind of way. She ends up kind of being in love with both brothers at one point. Kind of gives like Twilight, where like half the people are like team one brother and half the people are team other brother. But I adore this series. Emotionally, I love it because it's such like a core memory of my childhood. And I'm so excited for this to be turning into a TV series. I can't wait to watch it. Like the casting looks really good. It looks promising, so I'm hoping that it's good. Have not checked it out. Please go do it, especially before the TV show comes out. But it's great. I've loved it my entire life. I will never stop loving it, so please go read it if you have not. So the next is Emma by Jane Austen. This is a classic. Jane Austen, I feel like, has written a book that's like the mother of every trope. For me, Emma fits more of the Friends to Lovers. Like something like Pride and Prejudice was like enemies to lovers before enemies to lovers was a thing. And that's kind of her with Emma. Emma is kind of Friends to Lovers before Friends to Lovers became a thing. If you're a fan of Jane Austen, check it out. If you haven't read Jane Austen before, she tells good stories, but they are older books, so you just kind of have to take time to get used to the writing style. They're classic books. They are popular for a reason. They're really good reads, so go check them out if you haven't, but specifically for Friends to Lovers, Emma. So next up, Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino. So this follows Matt and Grace. They met in college and like instantly became best friends. They ended up living like right across the hall from each other, their dorm rooms. They became instant best friends. There was just this instant connection they couldn't explain. They started dating in college. They were in a relationship that they never wanted to put a label on, but they were dating. He ends up getting an internship with National Geographic and is supposed to go spend the summer in South America for photography. Grace gets an opportunity. She is a musician to go to this big thing in London and tour for music. They both end up going and doing those things and kind of having a falling apart. So this is also in a way like a second chance romance for them as adults. So they kind of lose contact for like 7 years. One day, Matt is going to lunch with his boss on his lunch break at work, just kind of sees Grace getting onto the subway in New York, just sees her across the way and they both like lock eyes and that instant spark kind of connects again. There's there's this kind of weird thing of like what happened in the 7 years, like what made them fall out when they had such a good connection and such a good relationship. So that's kind of what this is. It goes back and forth between them in college and them now as adults. Second chance romance. It's so cute. It's a shorter book. It's only about 300 pages, so it's a fairly short read. So if you want something that's a shorter read, I recommend this. This is a fairly popular book. I think I only 3 or 4 started it because it is so small. Like I felt like things could have been developed a lot more. Like the ending when they meet again felt very like insta love, rushed. Like we've seen each other, it's been 7 years, we're together again. Like I just felt like they could have prolonged it and really developed it a lot more than what they did. So I feel like that's my only complaint, is just the ending kind of ruined it for me. But the whole rest of it is great and I still recommend it. It's still a really good read. Go check it out if you have not. So then next up is The Truth About Heartbreak by B. Celeste. This is like a brother's best friend, childhood friends to lovers. This follows River and Everett. River is adopted into a new family and Everett is the best friend of her new adopted brother. She's been adopted from like a really abusive childhood situation, so when she moves in with her new family, she like starts going to her new school. Like she's very closed off and just keeps to herself, and Everett is kind of like the only person other than her brother at school or in her life that like understands her and makes her feel safe. She's comfortable talking to. As she grows up throughout childhood, she kind of gets a crush on him, but he goes away to college. This is also another kind of second chance romance. They meet again when they're adults. They meet again and he's actually engaged, but it's kind of a failing engagement. This is another thing of like what happened in their past to make them disconnect, and like what happened to them. Why were they no longer friends? Why did they no longer like each other, and how are they gonna fix it? I love this book. I read it on a Kindle originally and liked it enough to buy the physical copy, so that says something. I don't remember if I 4 or 5 starred this, but I very much enjoy it. If you also like a brother's best friend thing thrown in there with your childhood friends to lovers, I definitely recommend this one. Next up is Love and Other Disasters by Anita Kelly. This is a LGBTQIA+ friends to lovers. This follows London and Dahlia. They are competing on this cooking show, like a British break-off type cooking show. London came out to the entire cast as non-binary. They go by they them pronouns. Dahlia is queer and has a brother who's trans, so she kind of relates to London a lot, really sticks up for London when castmates like forget their pronouns or act kind of homophobic. So they kind of become good friends because Dahlia understands what London is going through, and London appreciates that Dahlia knows what they're going through and that they can kind of stand up together, and London has somebody to talk to about things. And friends to lovers, they obviously eventually have feelings for each other, but it's really cute. I love LGBTQIA+ books. I am working on putting together a book recommendation for LGBTQIA+ books, so be on the lookout for that. Friends to lovers with LGBTQIA+ characters, I 100% recommend it. It's very cute. I love it. So the next up is Second First Impressions by Sally Thorne. So this follows Ruthie and Teddy. Ruthie works at a retirement home and basically has the entire aesthetic of a grandma. Like she wears grandma clothes and she's a homebody and doesn't go out on dates and whatever. And Teddy is the son of the man that owns the retirement home, and he's kind of more of the bad boy in the situation. Like he has long hair, he wears leather, he rides a motorcycle. He ends up living in the apartment right next to Ruthie, and Teddy kind of helps Ruthie like break out of her shell. Like Ruthie wants to try dating people, so Teddy kind of helps her practice to go on dates and set up a dating profile, and Ruthie kind of shows Teddy like how to be more in control of his life and not be as impulsive. It's such a cute storyline. Their relationship is really cute. Their banter is really cute. I 3-starred this book because just something was like missing for me. It felt really YA, and again, it's a fairly short book, so I felt like things could have been developed a lot more than what they were, but I still definitely recommend it if you want another quick friends to lovers read. It is very cute. Yeah, go check it out if you have not. So next up is an entire friends to lovers series, the Addicted series by Krista and Becca Ritchie. Specifically, Friends to Lovers is mainly the first 5 Addicted main series books. The Addicted series is 5 main Addicted series and 4 Calloway Sisters spin-offs, and you're supposed to read them intertwined with each other. But the first 5 books follow specifically Lily and Lo. They're both struggling with addictions. Lo is an alcoholic. Lily has a sex addiction. They also fake date when they were younger to kind of cover for each other and help enable each other. So if Lo wants to go to a bar, he can say he's at Lily's house. Or if Lily wants to go out to a party to go sleep with someone, she can say she's going out with Lo. And they spend most of the first couple books enabling each other until they both realize that they need to get help if they want to have a healthy relationship. They eventually decide that like they want to try to have an actual relationship. They've been friends their entire lives. Like they've grown up together. Their families are all best friends, and they can't be together healthily unless they get help. So it's also them being together and working through their addictions and going from enabling each other to helping each other become better people. The first 2 or 3 books I wasn't the biggest fan of because I wasn't a big fan of Lo's character because he was still an alcoholic and he had like a grumpier, meaner personality and he was kind of a jerk. But once he kind of like went through rehab and everything, I liked his character a lot better. You could really see his change in personality and his change in character. He has like one of the biggest character develops in my opinion of the entire series. If you have not read this series, I highly recommend it. Read the Calloway Sisters spin-offs. That has age gap romance. It has enemies to lovers, like school rivalry to lovers. But Lily and Lo, they're so cute. Their banter is cute. Their relationship is cute. They're just big old nerds trying to survive, and I love it. So then next up is another companion novel series, the Off-Campus series, but specifically we're talking about the first book, The Deal. So Friends to Lovers. This follows Hannah and Garrett. Garrett is this star player on the college's hockey team. Hannah goes to the same college and is a music major. They both take a class together that Hannah is like the top student of and Garrett is failing. And if he fails this class or has bad grades, he can't play for hockey. So he's trying to convince Hannah to tutor him. Eventually he does, and it's kind of a friendship of them opening up to each other with their struggles and past lives. They spend a lot of time studying together and kind of being each other's therapists and helping each other through their problems. Eventually they start dating and they're so cute. The Off-Campus series is 5 books, and then there is a spin-off Briar U series. I have not read the Briar U spin-off yet, but I have read all of Off-Campus. Off-Campus has Friends to Lovers, it has Enemies to Lovers, like everything. But go check it out. You don't necessarily have to read them in order, but I obviously suggest it because other couples are mentioned in other books, so it's just kind of nice to know their backstory ahead of time. The Deal by Elle Kennedy. And then next up, November 9th by Colleen Hoover. This follows Fallon and Ben. Fallon and Ben have a weird relationship. Fallon was out to dinner with her dad and they were having like a visibly uncomfortable conversation. And Ben has never met Fallon his entire life. They're complete strangers. He just kind of looks across the restaurant and realizes she's uncomfortable and just slides into her seat and is like, hey, I'm Fallon's boyfriend. Like, stop being a jerk. And that's kind of the whole basis of their relationship, is they're just strangers that just randomly meet. But when they meet, Fallon is about to move to New York the next day. So she's like, hey, like, it's nice to meet you. Like, you're super cool and super cute, but I'm literally leaving tomorrow. They meet on November 9th and they decide that every year on November 9th, they're going to meet back up in person and see each other. And that is the only time that they ever talk to each other. They don't have each other on social media. They don't have each other's phone numbers. They don't call or text. So it's just them progressing their friendship and their relationship every year on November 9th. You would think that it would be weird and you would miss a lot, but you really don't. It works so well. Their connection is so strong that it's like they can literally not see each other for an entire year, but the minute they see each other again, it's like they've never left. So it's definitely Friends to Lovers in the fact that they really have to grow and grow their relationship before they really focus on romantic aspects of their relationship, but it's very cute. I loved this book. Go check it out if you haven't. It's super popular for a reason. Next up, a Friends to Lovers classic classic. I feel like everybody has read it at this point, but People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. So this follows Poppy and Alex. It's also kind of a second chance romance where they had a falling out and you don't know why. So it kind of goes back and forth between them now and them when they were still best friends. So it's kind of them, how they met on vacation and how they became friends. And it's just very cute. It's very wholesome. It's super popular for a reason. It's a good storyline. I really enjoyed it. If you haven't read it yet, which I feel like most people have, go check it out. Following that up, another super popular Friends to Lovers, Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. This is a super popular book. This is a lot of people's favorite book. I think I only like 3 or 4 starred this just because like it felt simple for me. I wanted more from it than what it was. Like the ending, definitely the ending was my favorite part. It's got a lot of plot twists and stuff I personally didn't see coming, so I definitely like it a lot for how it ended, but I just feel like the in-between, I just wanted a little bit more from it. But this follows Macy and Elliot. This is again, they were friends as children, had a falling out, them kind of finding each other again as adults. Macy and her father buy this summer home. Elliot lives in the house next door. When they first move in for the first time to this summer home, Macy walks upstairs to see Elliot reading a book in her closet. Nobody has lived in this house for years, so Elliot's just kind of gone over there and hung out as like a quiet place of his own. They're both big readers, so they become fast friends, bonding over books, and they've been friends their entire lives. As they get older, they have a falling out. It goes back and forth to figure out why they had a falling out. But if you haven't read it yet, go check it out. It's still a really good book. Again, it wasn't my personal favorite. I wanted a little bit more from it, but it's still great. Don't mean to offend anybody that does love this book. I understand why you do, but it wasn't my favorite thing. But 100% still recommend it. Still go read it if you have not. Still a very good book. Very cute. The ending is great. But yeah, go check it out if you haven't. Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. So next up is my Kindle section. These are all books that I read on my Kindle. They should also be available on Kindle Unlimited if you have it. So the first up is Collided by Lauren Asher. This is the second book in the Dirty Air series. This is a companion novel series of 4 books following Formula One racers. This one specifically follows Liam and Sophie. Liam, Formula One racer, he meets Sophie at a birthday party when she's like 13 or 14 and she's doing face painting for the young kids. So they originally meet then. Her father is a Formula One coach. So when she gets older, her dad finally lets her kind of come on the Formula One tour where she meets Liam again when they're both a little bit older. She makes this like bucket list of like things she wants to do while she's on tour. It's like, oh, like go on a date, like kiss a boy, blah blah blah. So Liam kind of volunteers to help her finish this list. Their relationship is so cute. It's such a good Friends to Lovers. I think I 5-starred every book from this series. It's just overall a great series. It has enemies to lovers, friends to lovers, brothers, best friends, fake dating. So go check out the whole series if you haven't. But Friends to Lovers wise, I adore this book. It's probably one of my favorite ones that I've recommended throughout this whole video. I love it. It's great. I can't get enough of it. This is one of my favorite series. Please go read it if you have not. Next up is Hands Down by Mariana Zapata. So Mariana Zapata, along with this being Friends to Lovers, very slow burn Mariana Zapata is the queen of slow burn romance, so if you also like slow burn, check these out as well. But Hands Down follows Zach and Bianca. Zach is a former NFL player. Bianca has been friends with him since they were children. Her whole family has. It's also, again, kind of a second chance. They're good friends as children. He goes away to pursue his career, come back, and things have changed. There was a death in the family, and Bianca was sent to go like find Zach and like tell him everything that happened. So she kind of goes and finds him, and Zach kind of is like, where have you been all my life? Like, what happened to us? And he's really trying to rekindle their friendship. Bianca is a baking YouTuber. She has a really popular baking channel on YouTube, and she ends up having a bunch of his football friends come and like be guests on her show because they're all big fans of her show, which is super cute. It's a very cute book. Zach is a total teddy bear. He is in love with Bianca the minute she walks in the door, and he makes it so blatantly obvious. But I adore this book. It's so cute. They have such a good relationship. It also has characters from Wall of Winnipeg show back up. If you've read that book and you liked that, it very much is along the same lines of Wall of Winnipeg. It's a really great friends to lovers. I can't recommend it enough. Go check it out if you haven't. So next up is To Love Jasonthorne by Ella Mays. This follows Jason and Olive. This is again a childhood friends to lovers, but also a brother's best friend. Jason has been best friends with Olive's older brother their entire lives. He eventually moves in with his dad like across the country and ends up becoming this super famous actor. Olive becomes a writer, and because she's been in love with Jason since she was a child, she writes this romance novel that ends up becoming super popular. It's picked up to become a movie. So she goes to meet with the movie production company and kind of work on casting, and they have decided that they want Jason to play the main character of her book slash movie, not knowing that Jason is the person that she wrote the character around. So she's like, oh my god, like he's gonna realize I wrote this about him and it's gonna be super weird. And it's another thing where they moved away, but they also had a falling out. Second chance romance. It's got some big dating in it. Their relationship is so cute. He's also a big softie and is just in love with Olive the minute she walks through the door. Totally recommend it. There is a second one, To Hate Adam Connor, which is an enemies to lovers. I also super recommend that as well. That is in my enemies to lovers romance video. If you want to check that out, I will have that linked below. So check out that video if you want some enemies to lovers romance recommendations. I adore this series. Brother's best friend. It's got some fake dating in it. Check it out if you have not. So next up is Bright Side by Kim Holding. This book ripped my soul out and killed it. If you don't want to cry, don't read this book. This book is pain. It's very much like Full Tilt and All In, very much like A Fault in Our Stars. It will destroy you. I think there's 2 books following after it. I have not read them yet because I don't think I'm emotionally prepared for them yet. Bright Side follows Kate, and it's kind of a love triangle between her childhood best friend Gus and this boy she meets in college, Keller. She meets Keller at a coffee shop and they have just this instant connection. Gus, she has known her entire life and he has a crush on her but just has never admitted it, and he never really admits it. They hooked up once when they were teenagers. That's it. They've always just been really great friends and nothing has ever really gone from there. Keller, she has this instant connection with. They eventually start dating. Kate's keeping secrets from him, Keller's keeping secrets from her, but their relationship is so cute. Kate is such an amazing character. She just has this energy and like makes friends with everyone and makes everyone feel so at home. Like I wish that I had the personality of Kate because she is just such a beautiful character. This is a beautiful book. It really is. It will make you cry. I have a cold, dead soul and I cried like a child for this book. Please, please go check it out. It is such an amazing story, such an amazing plotline, such amazing characters and love stories and romances and friendships. I cannot recommend it enough. This is actually probably my favorite recommendation for the whole video. So then next up, another Mariana Zapata slow burn. Wait for it. So this follows Diana and Dallas. Diana has recently had a lot of family trauma happen and she is now in full custody of her 2 young nephews. They move into a new town to just try and have a better life for them, get them into a new school, have them make some new friends, just get them out of their hometown and away from everything that's happened to them. So when she moves in, her next door neighbors are Dallas and his younger brother. She has a tiff with his younger brother. They do not like each other. Dallas is very stoic. This is also kind of a grumpy sunshine thing. He's going through a divorce, but he's just really like entranced by Diana and falls in love with her nephews. He has such a good relationship with her nephews and he's always like coming over to their house and helping her fix things and giving them rides when they need places to go. Like when they're sick, he'll go and pick up their medicine for them, and it's such just a wholesome story. It really is. It's probably one of my favorite Mariana Zapata books. It makes my heart happy. It's just such a wholesome book and it's so beautiful, like seeing these young boys grow throughout the trauma of their life and like learn how to love and trust people again. And like Diana now has to be a mother when she's never been a mother before, and it's such a beautiful storyline. It really is. If you have not read it, please go read it. It's such an amazing book. I can't recommend it enough. So then finally, last but not least, is Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. So this book is kind of hard to explain. It's kind of like 2 romance storylines meshed into one with a lot of drama. So this follows follows Morgan and Clara. Morgan is the mother, Clara is Morgan's daughter. Morgan, when she is young, has always had this main friend group that has been her sister, her now husband, and her best friend who ends up marrying her sister. So they've all just kind of been connected their entire lives. Clara is currently in high school. She meets this boy that her mom is kind of like iffy about, like she doesn't want her daughter to be hurt. So she's kind of trying to get Clara to not hang out with this boy and not date him. And while all of this is going on, suddenly Morgan's husband Chris and her sister both get in this tragic accident and die. So now she has lost her sister and her husband, and her childhood best friend has now lost his best friend and his fiance. So it is now just her best friend, her and her daughter, trying to put their lives back together. Her sister recently had a baby, so now her best friend is taking care of this infant child on his own. So they kind of reconnect and work through their grief together and like help each other with their children. But while they're doing this, they also realize that like they have always had this unspoken connection between the two of them. Like Morgan realizes that Chris wasn't the person she was supposed to marry. Lots of drama happens, lots of plot twists that you aren't expecting, and then there's also Clara working through her relationship with her boy from her high school. It's all very much friends to lovers with a crap ton of drama. But I enjoyed this book. It's definitely a unique plotline. I haven't read anything where like everybody's been dating everybody at some point, so go check it out if you haven't. I highly recommend it. So yeah, that is it for today's video. These are all of my friends to lovers or childhood friends to lovers romance book recommendations. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I gave you guys some new book recommendations to read. If you guys have any other friends to lovers or childhood friends to lovers recommendations that I didn't mention, feel free to leave them down in the comments. I will also take a look at them and probably read them. If you would like to follow me anywhere else on my social medias, they are all be linked down below as always. I also have my Amazon wishlist. If you guys want to send me any books, I will do some unboxings for you guys. I would love and appreciate you for it. But yeah, thank you for hanging out with me. I love you so much. Please stay safe, and I will see you guys somewhere else on the internet. Bye.